passions in our hearts, shed waters in our voice. The spirit and the flesh, the emotions that arrest. The cerebral will contest, propelling the unrest. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded. The teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. With the semblance of a blaze, with gratitude and rage, we touch another page with delirious delight, impervious to light. This vitality and might encourages the flight. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within.
Back to Africa, back to the continent, back to the motherland. For what purposes? Perhaps for economic purposes, perhaps to take advantage of emerging markets, perhaps to invest, perhaps to outsource. Or maybe it's for retirement. Maybe, you go somewhere where your dollar stretches further. Or maybe it's for identity and rootedness. Maybe it's to get out of perhaps some perceived and maybe some real constraints out here in the West. What does this question mean really to those who emigrated from Africa and their children, the first generation immigrants, and to the diaspora at large? We are using Africa as a focal point, but this really is a conversation about globalization. This is a conversation that got started ever since electricity got invented, and now we're at the point where the world is becoming more and more a global community. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ike, and this is my channel. And on this channel, we talk about being better and doing better with a strong emphasis on doing. Okay, that means getting stuff done, And what are we getting done today? We are talking to my man, Soul Provider Speaks. What's going on, sir?
Hey, man. What's going on, brother? Nigel, bro. What's going on, man?
Well, Soul Provider Speaks is a fellow YouTuber. Some of you may know him, and definitely go out and subscribe to his channel. For those of you who are not already subscribed to his channel, his link is on the description. First of all, I gotta ask, what is the name? What does it mean? Where is it from? Soul Provider Speaks.
Okay, great question, man. And once again, thanks for having me on, Ike. So Soul Provider came from a song from a rap group called Blue in Exile. They're actually from Cali. You might actually know them. So they're from Cali. The rapper's called Blue, and he made a song called Soul Provider. And oh, well, he made a song called Soul Amazing, but in the song he keeps his chorus is always mentioning Soul Provider in the song, and it's a really good song. A really good rap group from Cali.
Okay. So you like the song and you decided to take a part of the song. And what's the speaks part? You added the speaks.
Oh, okay, speak. Yeah, so I had a older channel just called Soul Provider, which I was doing a whole different stuff on there. And I made a new channel and I came into the Manosphere and I was like, okay, let me just add speaks because I'm doing commentary and I'm being a bit more raw than I was before. Before I was a bit more scripted in the past on other channels and stuff, but there's no scripts on this one. I'm just saying some odd things and kind of I'm just going all out. I'm not holding anything from the commentary.
And I definitely appreciate that. That's one thing I appreciate in your channel. You're talking about video games or IT, interviewing people. Shout out to Mr. Fantastic. That was a great interview that I saw about the Navy. And then you're pretty raw too at the same time while doing your nerd pill stuff. It's very I like the juxtaposition. So you are, I believe, a first generation immigrant. Is that the right phrase? You were born in the United States, right? But you have
Born in the US, so I guess I would be I thought I was second generation, but I guess I am first generation American. Yeah, I'd be first generation.
you mind giving us a brief history? Have you been back to Africa, for example? What are your thoughts? Blah, blah. How did your parents come over here? And can you give us a general picture of which portion of your family is here, which portion is outside, and just a brief, broad strokes?
Yeah, of course. So my parents were married in Nigeria first. They met in Nigeria. And then my dad moved here on his own to Georgia. And then he brought my mom over. They're already married. And then, my dad went to school to the same college I did, actually, in North Carolina. I followed suit. My mom also became a nurse and had three of us. I have two other brothers. And with that, my dad was helping my mom out while going to school and stuff like that in Georgia. Most of my family, I'd say like at least 95% is in Nigeria. My extended family, we don't have a lot of relatives here. So it's just, us, very tight niche family here in the US. And I've been there 4 times already. Been to my dad's side, which is in Okene, Ikum, near like Calabar over there. And I've been on my mom's side. Most of my mom is in Port Harcourt, in Abuja. So I've been to both sides. My first time, I was really young. I actually got sick my first time. I got malaria the first time because
nice, good introduction.
I was stubborn and I didn't want to take shots. You know how it is. I didn't want to take shots. So of course I got sick the first time. Then the second time I was 12. I really started enjoying it at 12. I didn't care. I went to my dad's village. I was just running around with my cousins. I didn't care. I just wanted to interact and just be around them and hang out with them. It was cool. Then my next couple of times I was older, I was more mature, and I was able to see everyone growing up and everything like that. So the experience was pretty good. It's pretty good. A lot of the stereotypes we hear, of course, you probably already heard all the stereotypes before. It's very laughable because, none of them go to the country at all. None of them, they just kind of talk. So, of course, when it comes to our names, our names have meanings and stuff like that. People will badger our names to death. It doesn't matter many times you try to pronounce it. They'll slay the name. And it's just, sometimes you just give up. Like, just call me Bob. I mean, just call me that. And let's just move on. But our names have meanings. Our names are cool. I don't know if we can cuss, but our names are really dope. And we have meanings and stuff. Like, there's meanings to our stuff. But, Nigeria was great, man. It was great. And then when Black Panther came out, I'm like, really? You bastards? So now it's dope? It took a white man to make a movie about Africans to be dope. You guys are wearing spears and daishiki and stuff like that. And now it's cool? You guys were making fun of me when I was 5 years old. So, yeah, that's my story. That's my story.
I love it. I love it. So the whole thing about names too is definitely interesting. And look, I have a very even for Nigerians, I have a very hard to pronounce name. There are many it's Ikponmwosa. It's Ikponwosa. I go by Ike. People called me IK back in Nigeria. That was a short form of it. But then I moved over here, and even IK was too complex for some people. So I was like, okay, let's just call me Ike, which then complicates things because when other Nigerians hear it, they think I'm Igbo because a lot of the Igbos go with the Ike because of Ikechukwu, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole kind of thing down there.
Okay.
So, but I'm Edo, and this is K Coaching was asking that. Oh no, it was Olu TV, aka Black Falcon. Shout out to you. Shout out to Jessica X. We got the whole Niger gang in the house today. So,
man, that's how we do.
thank you for bringing out the crowd, sir. So let me go ahead and distinguish between three groups here. First of all, there are the immigrants, right, who emigrated out of Africa and immigrated into this country. I always was confused about the E versus the I. Like, what are what emigrated, immigrated? Okay, so I emigrated out of Africa and immigrated into the United States. So that would be immigrant. And then the way they do it is first generation immigrant will be yourself, which is kind of weird. I too think it should be second generation because whatever, right? And then you have the native born, let's say people whom have African roots. Maybe they may be ADOS, maybe they may be foundational Black Americans or whatever the latest is, right? I didn't get the memo. Did you get the memo this weekend? I don't know. So there are different views on the continent. You probably alluded to this already, that between these different groups, right? So from your perspective as a first generation immigrant, what are your views as to the topic of moving back? Just how does that hit you?
Okay, so it's funny because I carry two sides of the coin on this one. On one side is the America, on the side is Nigeria, and that's funny. On either side, 100% don't accept me. Like there is a percent that if I go to Nigeria, they'll call me American. If some people here will call me not Black, so I can. It's a very weird. It's cool though that we have both worlds, but it's like we don't get full acceptance from either side. We take it as whoever takes me type of thing. But coming to like people moving to Africa, I think it's becoming kind of a trend now with the Pan-Africanism movement and stuff like that. People trying to exit the USA and come to Africa. I mean, there's so many resources, there's so much opportunities, land. It seems like it's almost unlimited. You always hear people moving to the country. Some people get families, some people make businesses, like you said, exchanging different resources and stuff like that. It's a smart idea. Now, for me, I was like, even this year, I thought, if the US was to blow up, let's just say the USA, I don't know, something happens and this disease that's happening right now, everyone just turns into a zombie. Everyone just turns purple. Then my next plan will be to exit and go to Nigeria. I'm going like bye USA. I can get water. I can get TV there. I can eat. I can eat all the chin chin I want. I can do
water in Africa. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can do all types of stuff, right? I can do all types of stuff, man. So if anything happens to the USA, I'm out. I'm out. Bye. And all I have to do, I have my support system, my relatives. Like, hey, what's the best place to go? What's the best place to build this, build that, do this, do that? I got all that. So no question. I'm okay. If this place was to get ruined, I'm okay with clicking the eject button and going after.
Gotcha. So from you, what immediately comes to mind is a plan B kind of thing. The zombie apocalypse happens. I got a plan B, hit the eject button, go. Okay. So you mentioned a couple of things which are kind of interesting. So you being a first generation immigrant yourself, right? There tends to be a feeling of being stuck in the middle, right? That was the very first thing you mentioned, right? Not being able to assimilate per se. And perhaps given what I see from your disposition in the channel, you probably are not big into assimilation to begin with. You probably enjoy the fact that that you don't fit in anywhere. That's probably, you probably get a kick out of that.
But, I love it, man. Honestly, love it. So here's the thing, right? For the most part, my parents did not teach me, okay, hey, you have to fit in. Like, no, they didn't do that talk. And our parents really don't care, all right? Our parents don't care for a lot of these things. All they care about is study. Hey, go ahead and read some more books. My dad used to trap me in the room. My dad used to trap me in my room and make me read books. That's why I don't even like reading right now. Because of him. I blame him. But this is what happened. Our parents are not teaching us, hey, when I went to school, right? I didn't even know there was a difference between Black Americans and Africans. I didn't know. I thought, okay, we were just all Black. I thought we were all the same. My parents didn't give him that talk. Oh, well, you're African and they're not. I'm like, no, they didn't give me any type of lingo talk. Oh, well, because you're Black, you can't do this, you can't do that, the victimhood thing. I didn't get any of that dumb coursework through my parents. It was just STEM, 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 STEM. That's what it was.
That is rather interesting. Okay. And this is something that I mention often in my channel, right? Well, not so often, but it has come up a couple of times, which is that immigrants in general, and this is not just a Nigerian thing, are not political by nature. The whole politicization of everything is a very American thing. Like, oh, well, this is this group and this is how you have to get along and this is this and that and the other. It's like, no, it's about the money, okay? Which, and why are you reading those books is so that you don't fall through the cracks and make sure you can get the money and you can be a respectable person, right? So that is pretty interesting that you put it that way. Now, how were you able to, because you said you did not know these differences, were not given the talk, and then you showed up in school and then you realized something. Well, what did you realize? What did you meet? How were you able to navigate and negotiate these waters vis-a-vis not being able to fit in on one side or the other?
Okay, so what helped me is that I sounded American for the most part. My parents spoke proper English, so this is why I sound like this. And also, I found out, okay, people are making fun of my name, but we look the same. Why are they making fun of my name and I'm not making fun of theirs? Like, what's going on there? And I didn't go back to my parents and say, you know what, they're making fun of my name. Can you tell me why? I didn't even bother to do that. I just kind of tried to blend in as much as possible. Just kind of blend in, and then just try to befriend anyone. It didn't really matter where they were from. I was all good with diversity, and that's how I did it. Some people, there's always those people that would make fun of me. Oh, your name, this, you're this, you're this, all the stupid African stereotypes. But then there's people that actually had, they were logical and they didn't care about where I was from. You just, hey, he's a cool guy, fine, let's be friends. So that's how I kind of got through it. And then with college, I went to HBCU, which what my dad did, which was, that was a good help. That was good to be around so many smart, educated Black students. It was really, it's almost like you're getting spoiled almost, because the reality is not what you see in those 4 years of college, but it helped. Smart Black Americans, smart Africans, all types of Blacks. I mean, so college was great. HBCU, I would definitely recommend, especially for Africans, HBCUs is where you want to be. I would not, of course, people go to other colleges that are just more white, whatever, but for Africans, I think it's a plus to go to HBCU. Just a plus.
Now, I think I understand why you say that in terms of the inherent objective. Yes, a bunch of smart people, so on and so forth. But then you qualify with the, especially for Africans thing. Like, can you expand a little bit on that?
You said, explain what again?
Especially for Africans, you're saying HBCUs are very important. Now, why do you say that part, especially for Africans?
Because I think, it's not like it's easy to find us, for first of all. They're really depending on the state you're in. Now, of course, if you're in like maybe New York or something, or maybe Cali, Texas, something like that, but usually other states, it's not like Nigerians are just everywhere. We're not just everywhere. But in college, go to STEM careers, STEM degrees. Oh, you'll find Africans just popping out everywhere. Kind of like just popping out of desks and closets. Like, so, especially also remember, we're not used to being around a lot of Black people like that. We're just not. So I also feel that it's also a plus, especially for the people that are coming straight out of Africa, right? They may feel a bit uncomfortable, right? HBCU, hey, although not everyone's going to be African, but at least, hey, you're really surrounded in a really good atmosphere. Like this is probably the best atmosphere you could possibly be as a student,
Now, That is very interesting because there are a lot of people whom from here, one thing I hear a lot, and it should be, perhaps it's kind of even obvious to you as well. Leaving the United States, if you're born in the United States, whether you are first generation immigrant or ADOS or whatever, and you go to Africa, that's the first time you actually experience a place where the cop is African, the restaurant owner is African, the governor is African, the mayor is like everyone is black. Like I mean, like you're struggling trying to find anybody, and like everyone doing everything is black.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's kind of interesting that a lot of people say that, but you say go to HBCUs, which is a good suggestion. Other people say, yeah, that the first time they actually experienced that was in Africa. So one aspect though that cuts across the aforementioned groups, right, whether you're immigrant, first generation immigrant, ADOS, whatever, is the aspect of economic opportunity, if you will, outsourcing, taking advantage of emerging markets, and so on and so forth. One thing, for example, that I always tell people in this channel is to just Google, how do I open an international bank account? And this is a way of getting your mind out of this little cocoon of, uh, in other words, taking advantage of globalization. Everyone around the world, oh, you hear in the news, globalization, globalization. Oh, China is globalizing here, this is doing that and the other. But to be in America in the 21st century, it's almost like you don't want your grandchildren to ask you, like, what were you doing when everyone was globalizing and taking advantage of everything? So I always say the first step to you can at least take is, how do I open an account in Botswana, this, that, or the other? And it'll begin to pull you in that direction. But point is, what are your thoughts on the aspect of economic diversification, taking advantage, outsourcing, perhaps investment, so on and so forth, perhaps in Africa, but also in general?
I think someone should not be complacent and limit themselves, especially here. And I don't know what it is. It's just I think it could be Africans or just Black Americans, but Black people, and we like being comfortable a bit too much. We don't like moving out of our towns, our states, our countries, for that matter. So we limit our opportunities. So I think there's a lot of. I mean, you gotta think outside the U.S. I mean, there's so many things happening in other states and other countries that people are not even aware of because they're so, they want to stay in the box instead of think outside the box. Just like you mentioned, the things in Africa that you can do, the things in maybe China. I mean, I know a lot of people that I used to go to school with that actually teach English in China and Japan and stuff like that. I mean, there's things that you can do and stretch yourself out instead of limiting yourself in just your little tiny box or your little tiny bubble. But there's a lot of things in Africa that you can do. And here's the thing. All these other groups are doing the same thing. They're taking the opportunities. So we might as well do the same thing. I mean, why are we not doing them?
So you are in IT, in the IT sector, right?
Yeah.
So are there any particular, because one of the main things is, outsourcing, right?
Yeah.
Outsourcing, like me, for example, a lot of the kind of work that I can do in the engineering field, I don't necessarily need somebody to be there working on like AutoCAD or drafting. So shout out to Black Falcon there. He knows about the AutoCAD and all that stuff. But in your sector, vis-a-vis outsourcing, vis-a-vis opportunities, and also with regards to maybe the outside world taking away opportunities from you guys, right, in IT. What are your thoughts on that? Are there any particular opportunities? And also, what's on the tea leaves regarding, the invaders coming in and taking your jobs?
So we deal with outsourcing a lot. In fact, I'm a system analyst, and there is a whole group that I used to go to that used to be in the States. But now they're all in India, like just like that. They're all in India, and because the labor is cheaper. Why these companies are trying to save money. And corporate, we're just numbers to them. I mean, let's just be honest. I've been in the corporate for 5 years. I can tell we're just numbers. That's all we are to them. And if they can save any money they can, they'll definitely do so. So yes, outsourcing is something that is it's been affecting IT for a while. Getting the skills, and the fact all these other countries are getting the skills and they're applying and taking the jobs, and if they get the job, hey, that's their right to do so. It is something that's happening a lot, and jobs are definitely getting smaller, but it depends. It depends. On my industry specifically, they're always changing organizations, renaming divisions, and stuff like that. So there's always changes in my industry, which could be, there's pros and cons to it. But yeah, outsourcing is definitely something that I've seen firsthand.
Okay. Your parents, because one of the things that has always been true when it comes to this whole globalization thing, moving out thing, right? And by the way, more and more, let's say, upper class Americans are looking to get multiple passports to go to your whole point about the zombie apocalypse and so on and so forth. And they may know something we don't know, but also it may just be the fact that Americans are waking up to, because in Europe, it's kind of like a thing of obviously you're moving in different countries. More and more upper class Americans are getting multiple passports, and more middle class Americans are getting their first American passport so that they can travel and so on and so forth. One thing that has always been the case is the question of retirement and being able to stretch your dollars out, right? I'm going to retire in Costa Rica. That's always been common. For your parents in particular, do they have any plans? Do they have any thoughts? Do you have any uncles or family, whatever, that kind of talk about moving back to Africa for retirement?
Yeah, my dad, he's ready to go. He's ready to pack the bags. My older brother, go figure, my younger brother is in the engineering, manufacturing area. I'm in IT. My older brother is a doctor. Go figure, right? So he just finished his residency and he's actually working, getting a salary now. So my dad's he's ready to just pack his bags in maybe a year or so. Maybe because of this thing that happened, it kind of slowed him down. But yeah, he's ready to just go back, eat all the fufu and he can, and just go to Oakney, go back to his village, just be enjoying himself, drinking Guinness and all that good stuff. He's ready to go. He's ready to go. My mom, though, she's staying here just in case, we all have a bunch of kids and stuff like that. So, of course, the mother, that's why she's kind of staying here just to see so she can get some grain babies and, how the moms do. They love that stuff. So that's why she's staying here for that specific reason. But yeah, my dad's ready to pack the bags. He's done with this place.
Okay. Now, let's go back and touch upon that friction that has been perhaps a theme that's been recurring in this conversation so far. Now, there's always friction between, there is friction between the aforementioned groups, but this is always true regarding any particular group that is native to a country. And then, let's say we take, for example, the FOBs, right? And then you have the ABC, American-born Chinese versus the FOB, the fresh out of the boat, right? That's one kind of group there. Or you take Mexican Americans versus the new immigrants. They have some kind of friction going on. Some of the friction sometimes is due to objective economic reasons having to do with opportunities and so on and so forth. But for the most part, it tends to be more kind of imaginary, perhaps overcompensation, in other words, sibling rivalry, right? Identity, that kind of a thing. Now, in your experience, as part of that middle group, I want you to kind of focus on, let's say, the African community. What have you seen? Because, well, let me say something on my part. Mm-hmm. In general, and it is therefore true with the Nigerian immigrants. In general, immigrants, given the fact that they're coming from a different country to chase opportunities in the United States, have an inferiority complex vis-a-vis where they're from. It just like one does not even need to explain it, right? It's like, okay, why are you here? Why? What's up with where you're from, right? That kind of thing. So there's an inferiority complex. Therefore, there tends to be a highlighting of certain deficiencies, and the deficiencies are objectively true, but highlighting of the deficiencies of the people that are native to the country that they come to. So they will say things like about Americans that have to do with American insularity, right? Americans don't know about the world. Americans are not very smart, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And I like to be 100% honest, right? And when I saw that kind of stuff too, or also this kind of, it's almost like making yourself the bigger person by seeming more worldly. Like, oh yeah, I know things you don't know, you little American, right? I just think it's an inferiority complex, right? So let me throw my shade. I'm asking you to throw your shade, okay? What have you seen in that community, the immigrant community in general, but the Nigerian immigrant community in particular, that has to do with them, trying to make them set, overcompensating, let's say.
Mhm. So on the African side, right? This is where I was telling you where they'll call me American, right? They'll call me
Mm.
American. It's it's like they don't know, or either they don't care to ask how we're dealing with the stuff in US, or because you have relatives who's like, oh well, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that, or you'll have random relatives who they think you're relatives, but you're really not relatives on Facebook, just randomly hitting you up as if you know them. And they kind of belittle what we're doing. Like they think sometimes they think, oh well, money grows on trees. I think you've heard that before. Like money grows on trees, and they assume that we're just having the best American life ever with the picket fence. That's sometimes a lot of them do think that. But then there are some that I can tell them like what's going on in my experience. They're like, oh okay, But when I'm in Nigeria, right, I need to be near my family. I'm right. I can't just go out alone on myself. I think every Nigerian American would not do that. That's just not smart. We have to be around a family. Okay. Security.
Mm.
Right? That's what we have to do. But there's so little I know that, I'm always going to my relatives saying, hey, I might ask a question, right? And then they'll tell me stuff like that. They know that I'm not going to know everything. I mean, they just, sometimes, I'll hear like, oh, well, how come your parents didn't teach you that language? I'm like, I don't know. Ask them. It's not me. I mean, you can't blame me on that. That's them. Okay. How come you don't sound like, I'm like, I was born here. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, there's nothing I can do. All right. It's not my fault. So there's things like that that I've dealt with before, and that's pretty much what I've dealt with on the African side. Not really too much though, like the American side, because I guess I'm not. Well, if I'm not physically there, maybe I would have dealt with more additional stuff. But that's kind of some of the stuff I dealt with overseas, basically.
Okay. And you don't have a large portion of your family over here, so you don't get to see how they would behave over here, right? In terms of
I don't have a big family here, sadly.
Gotcha. Now, how about on the other side? Okay. How about on the other side of the divide? What is the shade that you see being thrown from there? And besides the caricatures that you have kind of said before about, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because remember, I said my parents didn't necessarily teach me about the victimhood or the community thing or a lot of these political stuff, right? Because of that, I have a lack of caring for it. So if someone comes at me and says, "Oh, well, the community this, the community that," I'm like, when's lunch? Like, see, I just don't necessarily care enough because I wasn't raised to care about that. Sometimes people have told me, "Oh, well, go back to your country. If you don't like it, just move back to Nigeria." I'm like, I was born here. Hello. I mean, I've gotten that before. I've gotten, oh, you're not black. I'm like, I'm not black. What?
Okay, so if you don't like it here, go back to your country thing.
Yeah.
Seems a little off for someone like you because it doesn't seem like you were complaining about this country because you don't have, number one, being raised in an immigrant family, you're not particularly political, and you're not going to have this victim mentality, and you're not going to be complaining about anything. So why would somebody be telling you to go back if you don't like it?
Right. I was, like I said, we're just raised to do education, get our degrees, get our careers, and keep it moving. I mean, that's what it's been. And I think I benefited a lot from that. The way I was raised, I really do. But yeah, I've gotten that before, or I've gotten, oh, well, you sound weird. Are you black? Or you sound like a cop. I've gotten that before.
You sound like a cop.
I'm like,
That's a good one.
I sound white. I got into stereotypical questions about animals in Africa. Gotten that before. Um, I gotten all types of weird stuff, man. I mean, this is all types of weird stuff, and you know, I just kind of like. I'd say after college, before college, it kind of went all away. Like once I went to college, it went away. But before that, it was just kind of the stereotypes and stuff like that I was dealing with. But you know, when we come here, we're still, I mean, we still get treated like we're just black. I mean, we just get treated. We don't get treated any differently. Like I've been stopped by the police before, so you know, I can relate to some of the things that Black Americans go through. Like, we go through the same thing. It's not like they stop us. Oh wait, you're African? Never mind. They don't do that. Okay, they stop.
They don't? Oh my God.
They don't do that because of our skin color. You know, they don't do that. Okay, they just don't do that. All right. But even in the space, I've dealt with. Oh, you're not black. I'm like, what? Okay, all right, that's fine.
In this space, you've dealt with that?
Yeah, I have actually. Quite funny.
So that is interesting. Can you read what Snuggle says?
It says, Silver Rider, will African women be interested in what you have to offer and consider you masculine? Oh, God, Jesus. Jesus. Okay, here's the thing, all right? Talk just about the question, right? I tell people all the time, especially this SYSBM thing, going to other countries does not guarantee a thing. Why? Because women nature is global, okay? Just because they're from a different group, they're still women, okay? Going to the other countries is not a solution. Well, it depends. You might have a better chance of, you know, culture and stuff like that, but there's no limit. So that's just, I'm just kind of tackle Snuggles' question right there. I've dealt with some crazy African women, okay? They're crazy. There's a lot of crazy Africans out there, all right? We're not all sane, okay? There are some dumb African dudes too, all right? We're not all smart. So just get all that away. We're not all smart. Some of us are dummies, okay?
100%. And to add something to your culture point, there could be an advantage to the culture thing objectively, but for the most part, it's if you are also from that culture, right? So someone saying, okay, because women are all women, female nature, so on and so forth, hypergamy, blah, 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 blah. So objectively, one could say that if you go towards a culture that has more of an understanding of, or an acceptance of nature, if you will, that, oh, we're going to be naturally women and you're going to be naturally men. And no one, in other words, where there's no kind of, we have to kind of talk about microaggressing if somebody calls somebody a woman or somebody calls someone a man, and where people don't say things like toxic masculinity, for example. Yeah. Yes, objectively, you could say, okay, yes, you can at least, that one barrier is down, but still, men are men and women are women, right? But if you are from that culture, then you also have an added advantage where it's like, okay, I know how to navigate in that landscape more. But if you're coming from an outside culture, thinking that you're just going to come to a different culture and the women are, exotic fairies and it's all sugar spice, everything I said, you're just living another Disney fairy tale, right? I mean, so I 100% agree on that. Now we have someone joining the conversation. What can you speak so that we make sure that your sound is on, sir?
Yes. How does it sound?
It sounds perfect. Yes, our frequent guest on the show. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
I am fine. I'm fine. We're fine. So, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I think that you made a good point in that it's good to go back to Africa because it allows you to see a completely different perspective. I mean, I was just there, recently, and there are a lot of different issues there. For example, you don't have 24-hour electricity, so the light goes off half the day. You don't have good infrastructure in lots of places. Healthcare there is also poorer too. So things like that allow you to understand that you do have a big opportunity if you get out there, if you're in like the West, so to speak. So even when you have to deal with all of the things that you have to deal with in the West, the racism, the fact that you feel ostracized in a way, there's still a great opportunity that you have there. And if you do go back, you are now able to transform the way that things are done back home.
And what do you have to say about that, Mr. Soul Provider?
So I'll say this, and it's something I forgot to mention that I guess in this space, right? When all us Niger gang in the house, right? We all be like kumbaya, but in reality, we are not all kumbaya either. Okay, especially based on the group you're from, the tribe you're from, all this. We have conflicts with each other. Okay, some people. I had a neighbor back at my parents' house. I had a friend. He's Nigerian too. He's Igbo, and our parents never got along, but we were always friends. It's just like, and we were the only Nigerians in that neighborhood. So just letting you know, we are not all kumbaya or like the Ninja Turtles. We don't always do that. Okay, you could be a Nigerian, and you could be a Nigerian over there.
Who was like talking about that? I didn't say that. I said if you go back, huh?
I'm not talking about you. I'm just adding to you what you were saying.
Okay, but it seems like you're focusing on like the negative of the culture. You're saying that we are not all like this. Nigerians don't get along, etc., etc. I think the real question is, how can you improve a place that you're from? How do you improve that? How do you improve the environment that you're in? How do you improve the community? Not just that, okay, people don't like each other, etc. And the reason that they don't is because of a lot of superficial characteristics. If you look at the history of the country, it was created in 1914 by the Niger Company. Lord Dugard created the boundary because they wanted to extract the resources from West Africa. So they created the lines and called that Nigeria, even though you had people there who spoke 100 different languages and religions, different cultures. In fact, it was several different nations in one. So the fact that we have, or that the country has even stayed together that long is impressive by itself. It's impressive that there's not constant conflict. There isn't constant political turmoil that boils over. There's only been one serious conflict in the 1960s. That was it. Apart from that, of course, there have been, a lot of issues, but I consider those issues natural fighting over power, etc., etc. So if you look at the number of languages, cultures, and religions in that territory, what we've done so far is actually impressive. So we do actually get along more so than you're saying. Imagine if you had a French person, German person, Italian person, and they all had to share political power in the same country. How do you think everybody would get along? So I think that we're doing pretty well by that standard.
Okay. Now, if that is something that could be improved, okay, because tribalism, as we know, because I grew up in Nigeria, you probably also grew up in Nigeria as well. Tribalism was an issue, not looking from the outside now, just looking at you sitting there and having to feel that heat. What are your thoughts regarding how that could be, just objectively speaking, how can that be actually addressed?
Are you talking to me or to?
Yeah. How
me?
How can that? Yes.
Okay. I think that we had a good opportunity to address this in 1993 when Abiola almost won the election there, because of the fact people from every part of the country, voted for him. Every single part of the country, even though he was still from the south, they still agreed with him. So it shows that if you get the right people, the right candidates, people are going to essentially come on board. That can also translate down into the actual workplace, the work structure economy, by having business people that now hire people based on, like the merit, rather than, okay, this guy's from my background, so I'm going to give him a position. So once you root out corruption, that is the main thing that is actually keeping the country backwards. If you can root that out, people are much more likely to be able to come together.
Yes, and that was one of the first things that came to mind. Now, we always hear this word corruption, and we understand its manifestations and so on and so forth. But how would you unpack the word a little bit?
Okay.
If we're going to root it out, what does it consist in?
Okay. Corruption is normal in any developing society. After the fall of the USSR, a lot of state assets were sold to the friends of the politicians. They became billionaires essentially. So it is something that is commonplace even in America. You get it, etc. The the political institutions are the things which ensure that corruption does not actually degrade the state to a large extent. What corruption is essentially is inefficient behavior in the state apparatus to the point that you now impact the overall quality of life. So the GDP cannot grow. People are not able to improve their, living standards, etc. It is essentially economic waste. So if you have a corrupt politician and he gets in power and he's given, like a budget to improve the road and the bridges, etc. In a lot of developed countries, you might get a person that gives that contract to a friend, but the friend still does the job and the road is still built. In certain African states, the guy will get the budget. He will take 50% of the budget. Other people will take 25% to the point that they can hardly even build that bridge. That to me is what I define as corruption, whereby you cannot get anything done at all and everything comes to a standstill. That is, because corruption exists everywhere. By the time it prevents you from being able to do anything at all, that is what the kind of corruption that has to be dealt with. Corruption that actually prevents, the GDP from being able to grow, people from being able to access good infrastructure. That is my definition of the kind of corruption that has to be removed from society.
Okay. That is rather interesting what you mentioned there about the fact that in certain places people take a little bit, they take a little bit off the top, people bribe each other, so on and so forth. But it tends to be the case that, let's say, in Nigeria, that bridge just never gets built. It's not like,
Right.
it got ballooned, the budget for the bridge went up by 50%. It's just the bridge just never gets built. Like the money just goes to somebody else. So do you have any closing thoughts? I'll give you the last word before we continue with our guest.
Yeah, sure. Just like, I think the thing is that, first of all, it's important for everybody to be able to travel. And traveling does a lot, even as far as dating is concerned, because you have to look at where you are and the perception of the black male, especially in North America, in the West, etc. There is a hierarchy there, certainly. So you're going to get mistreated, etc. But if you go abroad, a lot of people have not even met you before, or they're not used to interacting with black people before. So you get a completely different interaction. You're not getting people that feel that they have to compete with you economically. You're now exposed to people that may come from, a family culture. They may come from a, culture where they interact with men entirely differently, and they don't have to be try to compete with them constantly. So traveling is important, and the best thing that anybody can do is, rather than focus on dating, getting married, the first thing that you have to do is focus on your career and your business too, and that's incredibly important. And don't let outside influences define what you are as a person. You have to define it internally through reading and through developing yourself.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Always good contributions from you. And until next time, yeah. Soul, he mentioned something right now, which I was going to segue into, and having to do with partly one could call it some people call it a late bloomer kind of thing. Other people will say, like, especially more and more so in the manosphere, like, oh, well, you should be focused on your purpose, that kind of stuff. Don't be so enthralled with the sugar walls, as you like to call it. So, what are your thoughts on that in particular? If for me, when it comes to, let's say, for example, the late bloomer aspect of it. I think that whether you planned it or you fell into being a late bloomer, I think you should thank your lucky stars because, especially as a man, it leaves that means you have more options open and you're actually in a stage in your life where you're wiser, more experienced to be able to make better choices about those options that are still open and so on and so on and so on. So, and also, it probably also, there is a nexus point between this late bloomer thing, don't focus on the sugar wall thing, and the nerd pill thing. So, what do you got to say about that big ball of crap I just threw at you?
Yeah. Okay. I'm taking the ball. All right. Thank you. So I would say that yes. I mean, life is a very difficult. All right. Life is very difficult. All right. But it can be made easy. Everyone has a different route. Okay. Everyone's not starting at the same starting point, the same route. Everyone has a different finish line. All right. Different directions, different paths. So even if you are a late bloomer, I mean, like you said, still be grateful that you still got the opportunity and look at where you moved from, right? Look at your past and hey, at least you did what you were supposed to, which is move up, right? I mean, and trying to compare yourselves with other people, I don't think it's a really good thing anyway. So if you're focusing on yourself, I don't really think it matters if you're a late bloomer or not. I mean, some people just get it, I mean, some people just get it right from the start. Some people don't. I mean, it's just like learning calculus or learning math or engineering. I mean, circuits for that matter, like some people are just not going to get those things right off the bat. For me, like studying, I have to study pretty hard. I have to like sleep at the library for me. But for others, they can just take the test and get 100 with no effort. Like there's always those type of students. So everyone has a different way of absorbing the material. So that's perfectly okay. There's different styles of studying. And I think that's how we should approach life, right? There's different ways. Everyone's going to have a different starting point, a different approach. That's perfectly okay. The good thing is that you actually did something, right? Instead of being complacent, like I mentioned before. And what was your other ball of thing? You threw another ball. What was the other ball? What was the second one? Those three of them.
There was a nexus point we mentioned. The hell? Let me get my Perrier over here.
Go ahead. And make sure y'all like the video, man. Stop being lazy. Like the video.
Like the video, share, and so there was a thing about the focus on women versus the focus on oneself. Then there is the thing about late blooming, okay? And the advantages perhaps thereof, right? And then there is an intersection between all this and what I would assume the nerd pill generally has, because you think late bloomers, yes, you do think the nerd pill a little bit, right? And you being the nerd pill god, right, coming from Mount Olympus down, bringing the tablets of that was the trifecta there that I kind of threw in. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah. So this thing about focusing on yourself and your goals and stuff versus women, right? Here's the thing, right? You look at this space, right? And what's the most viewed topic in this space? Like, quick question.
The most viewed topic? Oh, well, women in general. Right?
Right. So it's like we tell brothers this, yes, focus on yourself, work on this, work on this. There's a small percentage that will actually listen to this. And this is the truth. Okay. This is the truth. You look at what's been covered. When I do a tech stream versus when I'm talking about the sisterhood, there is a big difference. When I see different topics based on tech versus women, there's a big difference in the space. Once again, I can say, yes, focus on this, but see, men will follow what they want to follow. And even when you go into education, there's still women there. Okay. So it's like, we can tell them, I agree, focus on your stuff, but it's like, come on, you guys, I know men, okay, we know men, we know how they do. It's like a baby. It's like you putting putting a toy out for a kid, the kid's gonna grab the toy. All right, that's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do. We know men. All right, so. But you can focus on your goals and stuff and still entertain women or do whatever you want. You can still do the same. You can do that. I mean, we all did that. Oh, I would assume most of us did that in college. I mean, I'm sure you can do your studies, have your relationships, or flirt with your girls, whatever you want to do, right? But we have to be honest, right? We know men. We know y'all want those sugar walls. It's okay, man. It's all right. It's okay. Just honest, okay? Just honest, all right?
Yeah, and it's funny. It's either sugar wall 24/7 or I'm going monk mode and no fap and this.
About the monk mode and the semen whatever retention, like a lot of those guys are caping. I'm sorry, but a lot of those guys are caping hard. Okay, there is no reason as a man why you have to broadcast that you didn't get into some walls. All right, there is absolutely no reason to broadcast that stuff. All right, there's no reason to do that. Okay, I mean, if you are on, and here's the thing, right? I did the No Nut November video. This is where we tackled that thing. I said, hey, if you want to be a virgin, I don't care, man. As long as you're getting your stuff done, I don't care. If you want to take a break from the sugar walls, it's all good. Okay, get your shit together. All right, sorry for cussing. Get your stuff together. Okay, get your stuff together. But we know how these men are because we are men, man. We know how it is. We know how it is. Y'all can smell sugar walls from like 5 miles away.
100%. So one of the things that I 100%, like what it says on the chat, right? Not one dimensional, which has to do with what you were saying. Obviously, you can do this and do that. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times people can stumble upon, and you mentioned earlier, it takes, some people are moving at different paces. Plus, I think it's also important to know that men are mainly useless until they prove themselves useful via some kind of skill, so on and so forth. And if you happen to be a late bloomer, let me just, and this may just be the kind of psychoanalytical whatever to throw that out there. There are several reasons why that may be the case. One, for example, is that you are someone who's particularly versatile. So you don't have one road that you're trying to go down. You're trying to go down many different roads, okay? And therefore, it's just going to take you longer, okay? And or you are going to end up being let's say Einstein, for example, okay? Einstein was a late bloomer in many regards because he was climbing a very high peak, right? He had a massive potential, but it was not just going to be fulfilled by working at the grocery store, right? So that's going to take time as well. But if, regardless of which category you fall in, if you're a man and you end up being a late bloomer, I think that you should thank your lucky stars because by definition, your options are still open at a later stage in life. Options regarding, economic options, career options. Where do I live? Do I want a family? Who do I start a family with? How many kids? All those options are still open, and at a later point in life where you have more experience and are wiser to be able to make better decisions vis-a-vis those options. And also you have more leverage, right? To be able to negotiate at whatever negotiating table there is, right? So,
correct.
Before I we have another guest in here, and I don't know how much time you had, but we're reaching that hour mark.
We can keep going, bro.
Okay, cool. So
I tackle the nerd pill thing. I didn't tackle your third question.
Okay, well, go ahead, tackle that. Tackle the nerd pill direction because I think there definitely is a nexus point between all this late blooming stuff and the nerd pill. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at just a lot of the red pill content stuff out there, it gets you stuck in one lane. First of all, it gets you stuck, or you look at the dating coaches and all that stuff, the relationship stuff. It's pretty easy to stay in one lane and get stuck. And on YouTube, and it depends on what you're doing. Like you could do a channel based on cars, and I mean, you have content for days. You can do content on building, engineering. I mean, you have PCs. Like you could go far in those, but in our space, if you label yourself red pill, it's like, well, 30 ways how to get her phone number, 50 ways how to know she likes you. I'm like, yeah, okay. How many times are we gonna do those videos? How do you know that she really loves you, or you made a mistake? Here's why. Like, we
Here's
watch this video to find out. Like, oh, come on, man. I'm tired of that shit. So, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some commentary, right? Because in this space, it's very people you're usually in the chat, right? You're in the chat, and the reason why you make a channel is maybe because you want to say your piece about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that started. And then someone in my audience was like, man, Soul, you're on some nerdy shit, bro. Oh, good point. And then he's like, man, you're on some nerd pill shit. I'm like, oh, nerd pill, good idea, bro. So instead of using staying in one lane, I can talk about these sugar walls one day, sugar wall Wednesday, and then I can have gaming Thursday. And then I can talk about tech stuff the next day. So it allows me to speak about whatever the hell I want to speak about instead of getting stuck in one path, So that's where the nerd pill came from.
That's how you originated the nerd pill. If we were to take a completely crazy segue and ask you when the next time you'll be going back to Nigeria, because you mentioned you've been there 4 times seemingly in your life.
Yeah.
Right. So when's the next time you're going back?
I need to see my dad's side. It's been a while since I've seen my dad's side near Calabar, opening. Okay. Ecom. I need to go see his side. It's been a while. So I don't know. But next time I go, next time I go, I can try to record it. I could try. That'd be good. But I don't know. I don't really know when, but hopefully within the next couple of years, maybe.
I see. And just out of curiosity, do you tend to plan things, or you just kind of like going with the flow?
Oh, when it comes to my content,
that thing. Was it Miyamoto Musashi? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Okay. Content, your breakfast, whether you're going to Nigeria or not, all that stuff. I'm sure it's the same way. Right?
Actually, yeah, I am very structured. I don't like going to A and skipping to D. I don't like that. That is kind of cringy to me. I like order. It's not like I have like a fork on my table every day lined up. I'm not that creepy. But I do like having a schedule. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to work on this podcast. And then if this don't work out, then I'm going to work on something else. Or I'm going to just going from that way. I don't like, I can't focus on multiple things, but I do like a certain structure. And I think it's based on my personality type. That personality test you can take that kind of lets you know how you think or whatever. Whatever it was, I forgot what mine was, but it was whatever the one that was like, you like structure, you like strategy, like analysis. Yeah, that's my thing. I can't help it.
100%. And then there's that whole INTP, INTJ, whatever that kind of that one.
Yeah.
And then there is the other one, kind of more on the Jordan Peterson line, where it has to do with like certain psychometrics, like having to do with order. So you're probably someone that likes order and stuff like that.
Yeah,
look,
I do.
I'm one of those kind of two extreme. I have these two bell curves where it's like I am super order on one end, but I'm also like super I'm intuition, right? So that's why all the art stuff that I do, all the singing and then whatever, all that I love that end. But on the other end, it's like, okay, engineer. Look, I'm that guy that, look, if there's trash in the public restroom, I can't leave that place without clean. Like that's me.
Oh man.
Look, I do it. I grab the paper towel, pick up this stuff, or wash my hands, do that. It's almost like a disease, right? But it's just I like order. That's why. In other words, I'm not doing it for anybody else. It's just like I have to do it. Like I don't like disorder. Like, okay, it irks me. But before I let the someone on here to ask some questions and to contribute, given the fact that you're strategic, okay, and that you said that you are going to be visiting your family, the only reason you would want to go there is for not the only reason, but you want to see your father's side perhaps in a couple of years. Do you have any vis-a-vis economics, investments, so on and so forth, any kind of plans in that direction, or even looking in what your father is doing right now in terms of him wanting to go back? Do you want I know you already talked about your zombie apocalypse plan B,
Mhm.
but do you have any plans? Maybe 5 years, I want to buy land, or 20 years, I want to build a resort. I don't know. What do you have any such plans?
Yeah, so I actually do want to buy land. My dad was kind of when he said when he's gonna move over and retire, he's gonna have like some land kind of set out for us and stuff. And then I guess our plan was to add on to that. So that's definitely something I want to do, especially for my dad's village. We could definitely add some things, and there's a lot of land out there. So yeah, that's definitely something I considered looking into for sure.
AO says I can't live in Nigeria if I don't like disorder. Yeah, I understand, and that's why. Look, one of the videos I made while I was in Ghana, I was like, pay for insularity. Okay, if you want to go to Nigeria and get beat up by the cops, right, and you because you want to you want to do it on the cheap, that's on you. But basically, all over the world, you get what you pay for. Okay, if you get your money right, you get your plan right, you get your economics right, so on and so forth, you can shield yourself, insulate yourself, if you will, from whatever BS and disorder is going on, no matter where we are in the world. So we have a guest. Can you say something? Let's make sure we can hear you.
I am right here.
What's up?
All right, all right. What you got for us?
Hey, Ike, just real quick. If that is your proclivity, if that is an obsession that you have, just make sure that you choose your public restrooms wisely.
Oh
Or you
yes,
may be
I
setting, or you may be setting yourself up for a new career.
yeah, or I may end up with hepatitis B or something. Who knows? Anyway,
um, as far as soul provider, nerd pill number one. I in the vein of what Ike was asking you earlier,
Mhm.
I'm curious to your position here, as into as the as the Genosian representative here in the Black Manosphere of the nerd pill. What benefits or what do you see as beneficial or as because of what you bring and the content that you bring, and those that would gravitate to your content or participate like you? I consider myself a nerd as well. As far as that late blooming aspect, that tends to go along with that, what benefits do you see or derive coming from that, of being that, while so either by design or by happenstance, not dealing with women when you're younger, or falling, like, say, within the traps of early or earlier undesigned premature parenthood, you know,
Well,
those type of things. If you, I mean, although they seem common sense of what the benefits would be in that situation, how can you illustrate those benefits that you've seen, experienced yourself, or seen in others who come from that position, i.e., getting their ducks in a row
mhm.
and then attacking the situation, versus what tends to happen when people don't have that late blooming experience?
Yeah, well, first of all, man, Judge, good to see you, man. First of all, it's time, man. It's time and energy. You know, if you're a late bloomer, you may not have the energy to do a master's program, complete this program, complete these assignments, get do the studying, because studying, I mean, that's not all of us. Like I said, I just talked about how different people study. Not all of us can do that in our late 30s versus in our 20s. Okay, having the energy to be able to absorb material could change based on your age, right? Based on if you maybe you went into some sugar walls and now you have 5 kids. Well, hello, you're gonna drop off your 5 kids and then study some differential equations. Okay, good luck with that. I mean, like, so it's best for you to go through all this hardship, like the hardship with study, go through that, and then deal with the other hardships later, like the sugar walls and then the family and stuff like that. I think that would be to your benefit. So, like I said, put the sugar walls on the side and work on these book walls, the covers of the books. Those are what you need to focus on. And you don't need condoms for it either. You need your eyes and your brain. No condoms included. All right. So to me, that's the way to go. And like I said, once you have your career in order, you have your degree, because the school is tiring. Okay. Like even after the bachelor's, I was exhausted. Right. But I'd rather have suffered through that in my early 20s versus now. There's no way I would have the energy for it. It takes a lot, especially if you're doing STEM. You know how it is, studying, all that stuff, senior projects, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot of effort. Applying for jobs, internships, co-ops, all types of different things. I think it's easier to cover in your young 20s than wait till later because you were entertaining some sugar walls. I just think, you know.
At what age? At what age should this be emphasized? Because it's something that I hear you you mention things about the next generation from time to, or at least I tend to, my ears tend to perk up when I hear certain kinds of things because they're so outside my reality in terms of thinking about other people. But anyways, you mentioned that. So at what age should this be emphasized, or what are the mechanisms through which this can be kind of pushed into the future and institutionalized, systematized, or whatever?
Well, I would say as early as possible. We have a couple young people in the space who are like 17, 18. I mean, they should be soaking up this information now, right? I'd say before college, because, you know, college, you can go, there's certain routes you can go in college where, you know, the sugar walls you could take the sugar wall degree program. You could take that, but you're not getting no, you know, cum laude or any benefits with that degree. And people can get lost in college if you're not focused. So I say before college. I say like as soon as you enter that freshman year, even before that, you should already have your mindset. Okay, I need to come in here, finish this program, get the hell out, get a career going, boom. But, you know, a lot of people are distracted. You know, a lot of people don't get that little talk before they enter college. I didn't get that talk either. You know, and you would think with African parents we'd get that talk. We don't get all the talks. Okay. So, you know, we don't get it. It's not all perfect. Okay. So that talk is extremely important because, like I said, you don't want to redo those years, you know, like, and we know how expensive school is, especially it's going to be more expensive for them. Right. Student loan debt, stuff like that can be minimized if you're more focused, because the less time you're in that place spending money, the better, you know, for you after you finish, right? You don't want to be stuck in student loan debt because, you know, you didn't take your stuff seriously and you'd allow sugar walls to distract you.
What you just mentioned right now reminds me of a conversation and regarding people, you know, because I have a very, very big family all over the freaking world, right? Just because of the nature of the family, right? So in the United States and Germany, where it's almost like there is no country where I can't find my people, right? So I've heard many different kinds of talks from different uncles and so on and so forth. I was probably not the one getting the talk, but maybe my cousin is getting a talk over here. And one of the recurring things I hear is doing the hard things early. And then as you were talking, I also, because I studied, you know, engineering in school, not a lot of women in the engineering school to begin with. Plus, there's not a lot of time to be doing calculus 3 and physics 1.5, whatever, and circuits, and also still trying to go party, like drinking jungle juice and all that. You just can't do it. So is it important to tell, especially men, because again, they are the ones that are, by definition, useless until they are useful, right? And it takes time to become useful. Well, how important is it to tell men to focus on difficult things early? Like, don't go do your, you know, and I know people like to make jokes about the feminist underwater basket weaving degrees and such, but definitely as a man, you don't want to be doing that. You want to do things that are very difficult, that focus you away, almost completely distract you, and then you'll be thankful later that not only because, you know, now you're more useful, but also because you dodged many, many bullets. How important is that aspect of telling people to do difficult things?
It is, because the thing, and this connects to IT, because a lot of the really good jobs are some of the stuff that was really hard to study in college, right? And because the people who wanted to pick the easy stuff didn't pick the hard stuff, well, that's where you have a lot of these other groups taking those jobs, right? And you'll see it. you'll see like especially with the engineering fields, right? There's certain engineering majors that some people don't like picking versus another one, right? Sometimes they'll try to pick for the easy one instead of picking the hard one, but the hard one is where you get all those big nice salaries at, because there's a smaller pool to look for when you're trying to be in the job market. So with that smaller pool, they're going to pay these guys a lot more money because the pool is smaller, right? So like I said, it is very important to, and also, I mean, just because it's hard, it could be fun to you, right? I mean, there's people who are software developers, coders that just like coding just for the fun of it. It's hard, but for them, it's fun. So if you can get both that in your favor, good for you, right? It kind of sucked to have try to do something hard just because it's, oh, well, I want the money, but you're not having fun with it, right? Some people can do that, some people can't, right? But this is very important to, like I said, cover these things early on, because like I said, you're not going to have the energy or even the willpower to do these things in the future. You're just not. And maybe there are some people out there who they're late bloomers, and there's way more focused now than they were when they were younger. That's another case too. Some people who are younger, maybe they just weren't focused like that. Maybe it took some years for them to finally get a hunker down and get focused. So, there are special cases to that, but you could save yourself a lot of trouble in the future if you cover a lot of these things early, and for us, I mean, we have it easier. Just get a degree. I mean, it's not like we're in med school and you're like forever and stuck in med school limbo till you come out and you're like have gray hairs. At least we're not like that. I mean, a bachelor's, maybe a master's and a couple certs, you're good to go. You can handle that compared to some other stuff some people are doing. So there really shouldn't be any complaints.
Judge Zilla, any reactions to what has been said so far?
No, excellent. That's actually what I was looking for when you posed the question earlier, when you phrased it earlier. That's kind of where I wanted to dig in a little bit more on it. Essentially, hard things or difficult things are not made easier by having more responsibilities. So I just that illustrated again from those that may consider themselves going down these paths, like getting old. You'll never have more energy than you have now as a younger man. Your energy level is not going to be increasing significantly as you get significantly older, beyond 21, and your resources are not going to stretch further when you have more responsibilities attached to them. Nor, and that means money, that means time, that means sleep, that means everything. So, why do the difficult path when the easy path is the option? The easier path is the option. The job's going to be difficult either way. Why not do it the most efficient way possible for yourself? And that's all. Congratulations to yourself, Soul Provider. I see you're approaching 1,000. I hope you get there very soon. Ike, your ascent to nearly 2,000 here is ridiculously wonderful, and I hope it increases and goes beyond. Thank you for allowing me up.
Yes, sir, Judge Zilla, and don't hesitate to come back. Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Everybody, that's the program. That's the algorithm. Like, subscribe, bell button, all. It's LSBA. That's what you should do on this video, on all videos, on Soul Provider's channel, on all the other channels out there, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe, bell button, all. I would like to add one thing, and then I'm gonna start winding this up. And that has to do with what was mentioned here regarding doing things in the most efficient way. And this may seem like perhaps a non sequitur, but I'm going to bring in now the whole 100% versus 50-50. Okay. Oh my God, Soul says, oh, here we go. High value man crap. Here's what I mean by it. 100%, I think, or the understanding of 100%, right? Because it's not a question of that you are actually doing the 100%, but 100% responsibility It might be 75-25, whatever people are chipping in, but they know who the main person is, actually makes it easier for you to focus by definition, right? It actually makes it easier for you to do what you need to do. Even though you may be putting, I don't want to get into the whole, I don't want to get deep into RP right now, okay? But since we are all amongst friends here, we already kind of see the connections and everything, in the sense that if you're going to have a family, you're going to be dealing with a woman in your house, it is best if the understanding is clear that, okay, for the breadwinning and the financial burden rests 100% on me. And believe me, it actually makes your job easier than harder. Because there is more of, you have that time, even though you're not, even if you're spending the same amount of time, you're going to be working 8-hour days or 14-hour days or 12-hour days to do whatever it is you do anyways, okay? But there is more peace, okay, of mind amongst everybody when the roles are clear, when the responsibilities are clear, and you're not going to have that kind of guilt that you are not doing what you need to be doing on this other side, because you know what your job is. Your job is to go out there and kill the mammoth, right? So you go out there and kill the mammoth. And if the understanding has been made up front, obviously it's not something that you kind of negotiate later or whatever. I'm talking about an understanding which is clear in the beginning. Obviously, there will be complaints all through the whole process. That's a given, right? You know what I'm saying? But if there is an understanding that this is your major responsibility, it is on you, then you can really go out there with full peace of mind and kill that mammoth, rather than doing that other dance, which always comes back to bite you in the butt. I don't care. And KS's show, Kevin Samuel's show, has shown you, right, that even if they have PhDs or whatever it is that they have, at the end of the day, they want you to do it. And as we know, being RP guys, they're not going to tell you that up front, okay? Because one of the things women always want is for you to get it. They want you to get it. And it doesn't mean that they're going to give you all the peace that you would think is owed to you. But I mean, this is all just being smart, right? Nothing is perfect, but it is best to take on the 100% of the responsibility, because your life will actually be easier. It's actually more efficient that way than to be dealing in the muck and fighting and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So you're very strategic, okay? Mm-hmm. What are your plans for 2021 with regards to your YouTube channel? A question which you thought I was asking you earlier.
You got me there. Okay, so next year, because next year will be a full year of content. I started this year in June, so I only got half of the year this year. So 2021, more interviews. I really want to get to. I got I think 20 interviews so far. I want to get up to 100, 200. I want to really keep going with the interviews. More skits, more short videos. Just get better at doing commentary, but it's a learning process. There's a lot of things in the background that we do that a lot of people are not aware of, but we're always testing things and experimenting on things. I do experiment things on all the time, but yeah, just to have a full year and keep consistent. That's pretty much it. Just more content, being more consistent, and trying not to be scripted or anything like that. Still be raw. Still be awkward, and just keep going. So that's pretty much my goal for next year.
Consistency, perhaps doing some more skits. I do like your skits. I liked Akban, and I liked the one with the guy that got the wrench.
Oh, yeah. We're coming. You know what? I actually I contacted my cousins. I'm like, okay, give me a funny name that give me a goofy African name. They're like, okay, Akban. I'm like, okay, I'll go with that. There was another one, but I wanted to go with that one because it was shorter and easier to say. So I went with that.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, because it's from the Calabar area and all that stuff. It's I actually had all kinds of history with all kinds of Akbans back in Nigeria. So that was definitely a good one. So I would like to thank you and thank the audience. Shout out to everybody out there checking for you. K Coaching, Snuggles always out there instigating stuff in the chat. Nicer was here. I saw Nicer earlier. And then Melodious Forever and everybody in the chat. Remember, if you are subscribed, hit the bell button and click all, okay? If you're subscribed to Soul Provider, make sure you click the bell button and click all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all. So even if you're subscribed to my channel and you have done the bell button and the all, make sure that you like the video, okay? It's for the algorithms. The algorithms need it. The algorithm sees all. So this was a conversation about, or titled, I should say, Back to Africa, right? And then we circled around that topic vis-a-vis the point of view of an immigrant like myself, a first-generation immigrant, a child of an immigrant like Soul Provider, and also ADOS and the diaspora in general. We used Africa as a nexus point, but really it is a question about globalization, taking advantage of economic opportunities, spreading out your net, okay? Because there might be fish out there that you don't even know is floating by. But when you open that bank account, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to start thinking in a certain direction like, I noticed that they give me more interest over there. Let me put more money in. Oh, they have these different kinds of accounts in this place. Oh, they give you a residency if you put $10,000 in this account. I wonder what that residency can give me. Oh, I can invest in psychedelics in this particular country for recreational use, but I cannot do that in America, blah, 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 blah. In other words, becoming more of a nomad capitalist, even if you're not doing that in the physical space, but doing it digitally. And I always advocate getting a bank account. Go ahead, Google it. How do I get a bank account in Botswana, Ghana, Nigeria, whatever it may be? So using Africa, going back to Africa, the experience of an immigrant, so on and so forth, the friction, this, that, and the other. We are talking about expanding our horizons, bridging the gap, and living in the global world, which it already is. And do you have any last words, sir? Last words to take us out before we play the theme song, Battle Within?
Yeah, man. When you played your theme song before, I was like, "Woohoo, yeah!" I was glued to your theme song. I always like listening to it. But yeah, man, I appreciate it, Ike, and it's good, man. Niger Gang in the house, man. We just be all over the place for some reason. We're just all over the chats and stuff. So Niger Gang here. Congrats to your 2K, which I'm sure you're about to get really soon, man. And yeah, man, I'll see you around. And you're always welcome on the channel anytime, man.
All right. Shout out and fight the battle within.
On the shore, relentless in the war, the legions in our hearts, shed waters in our balls, the spirit and the flesh, the emotions that arrest, the cerebral will contest, propelling the unrest. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand, stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. With the semblance of a blaze, with gratitude and rage, we touch another page with delirious delight, impervious to light. This vitality and might encourages the flight. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the whim will fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the whim will fight the battle within.
We still have about 19 people in here. Who wants to hear a bonus track? All right. I know Soul likes the track Run, so we are going to play the bonus track. Run. Another Soul Rising original, or rather one of my original tracks, ladies and gentlemen. Check out my band. We are Soul Rising. iTunes, Spotify, free on SoundCloud, so on and so forth. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated, Lord.
In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what dwells behind the curtain, the face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, that either pop or topple, many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising and hearts are compromising, convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest and the righteous in your corners. Run, 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 make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. Run for the hills, let the will lead the mind. For living is the thrill with the doubt left behind. Amidst all the wicked, there is beauty to behold. Be fearless and intrepid from the depths of our soul. The hands of the steady cleave the rose from the bone. The sweat of the weary brings us close to the dawn. The motion of the wheel brings the light to the mind. Be aligned, it's divine. Run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling on your daughters and your sons, they come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling on your daughters and your sons, they come forget it. Run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. Run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters.